Hello there everybody, Sabananai2 aka Nightmare, and welcome back to Rose Guns Days Season 1. Now then, in the last episode, we were kind of in a hellish chase scene. And it looks like Meryl and Stella have been captured by somebody. And then Amanda kinda had the most out-of-place heel turn in her character. Like, okay, I don't know, maybe it's because I didn't really get enough time to actually know Amanda, but I feel no emotional attachment to her. I automatically just kind of have her as the, okay, she goes into the trash tier list, we'll just hate on her for quite a while. You know, those kinds of lists that kind of pop up, you know? Caleb's still kind of in that middle ground, like, okay, he has a decent motivation, but the ends don't justify the means. That's my argument there. Also, I'm starting to think that he's actually being thoroughly manipulated by Amanda, in a way. Then again, this is just coming from me actually getting to know Karaji, aka Caleb, and not getting much information to know about Amanda. Like, I didn't really get enough to know, like, bond about her or anything, while Caleb was established, and I could or not Caleb, but Karaji was kind of established, and I could actually find myself liking him quite a bit. So, I don't know. You guys get what I'm saying, right? Or am I just alone in this and I'm just kind of being a dork? That's probably it. So, let's just throw ourselves back in. Since the early morning, it had been overcast, sullen day, raining on and off. Despite this, a pulsating crowd of more than 1,000 men had gathered in a park close to the harbor.
What are all these people doing here so early in the morning?
Didn't you hear? That Caleb guy is giving out food to us poor people.
Rumor has it it's not just food, that he's going to be handing out money. Father Caleb is a savior to us poor folk.
Well, I won't let him trick me. Do you realize how many stories have gone under thanks to him? Stores, sorry.
If someone's handing out money and food, I don't care if he's from hell or the mafia.
Good lord, that just kind of shows how desperate they are. What do you think you're doing? Don't cut in front. I'll kill you.
Come on, how long until it starts? We're starving here. Come on, man, give me some crack.
We've given up waiting for trucks at the employment agency, just so we could come here. A crowd of men in cheap clothing formed a massive line waiting for food to be rationed out. Eventually, the rationing began, and the line slowly moved forward. What they got in their bowls was so jumbled and indistinguishable that it was literally dog food. Still, just the fact that it was warm food for free gave it a favorable reception. The men who got their bowls formed a crowd to the side of the distribution tent. I forgot how to English for a moment. Listen up, men. Here's your chance to get rich quick.
Find those old bows, follow Caleb, and grab yourself a reward.
Rosa Ibarra, the former madam of Club Primavera. Whoever catches her gets a $200,000 reward. There's also a cash reward for information on where she's hiding. Oh my fucking god. And like that, Caleb's likability has plummeted.
Oh, 100,000?
$100,000 just for catching that girl? Richard Maogi from the Maogi offices. Another 100,000 bounty for him.
Insane. If you caught both of them, that'd be $200,000.
They're turning the entire fucking city against them. Several men, actually the whole place. God, several men started shoveling down their food, their eyes glittering. Caleb and some others watched this from a large luxury car parked on the edge of the park.
How could we have missed this? So, this is how we might solve our troubles, by being total scumbags. Putting bounties on people. Huh. It's almost like we're the bad guys in a story.
You are!
These people aren't all Japanese. There are also a few poor Chinese laborers. So, those will be people found even if they try to escape. Those people will be found even if they try to escape the Chinatown.
And it's also possible that some people who don't accept Amanda as madam will drag Rose out of the shadows for us.
Please don't underestimate me. Primavera is completely under my control because I'm a whore. I won't let anyone disobey.
Still, such a shame that the safe was empty. It seems I underestimated this Richard.
It'll be my job to fill that safe up again. Just you wait and see.
I look forward to it. Squeeze those rich people good for the sake of our fellow countrymen.
You're making me hate you a lot more.
Caleb, if it's money you want, I'd like you to help out a bit with my business. First off, stop letting those toughs from your family into the club. Their attitudes are bad, and they make passes at the girls. For them, it's all on the house, and we don't get a dime. You've got to give them a break there. After all, good drink is a man's oasis.
Exactly. I've ordered them to not let it get out of hand. However, Primavera's my club. What's wrong with my underlings having a drink at my club? Right, Miguel?
Yes, that's right. You know what's going on, Caleb.
Miguel, more importantly, you've got to round up the girls who've left Primavera and are getting customers on the street corners. Teach them that no one can practice their trade in City 23 unless they accept Amanda as their madam.
God damn it! Of course. Just the other day I found a cheeky girl and ripped her up a bit. At least don't touch their faces. Those are a commodity. God!
Fuck you guys!
If you can't manage to bring them back alive, we don't care if you kill them. But if you don't catch them alive, you'll get a bonus.
Oh, for God's sake.
If you don't think you can manage it yourself, just report it about it to us. You'll still get money out of the deal.
God!
Son. No way. After leaving Primavera, Wayne had gone back to his rat lifestyle with an alley as his nest. The sense of helplessness he had felt at being unable to protect someone he had sworn to protect forever, even at the cost of his life, still tormented him. He knew that Rose and the others were facing unprecedented danger at this very moment. However, what could a powerless person like him protect? And how was he supposed to face them? There was no answer. Nothing would grow except his own anger and contempt at his powerlessness. Chinatown and the surrounding area aren't marked off with a fence. This mixed area has the dangerous potential of stirring up trouble. The northern part of City 23 was given the name Small Rock District after the war. But these days, you wouldn't see that name anywhere except street signs. The people of the city called this area Chinatown. City 22, which lay to the north, was under the control of the Chinese army, and all of it had already become a Chinatown. A bump of that pushed down to the south, making the northern part of City 23 a Chinatown too. This small rock Chinatown appeared to be under the control of no family. However, everyone knew Li Meiju was the de facto boss, and an important member of the Golden Dragon Society, the largest family in City 22. So to avoid stirring up trouble with the Golden Dragon Society, the families of City 23 avoided Chinatown as a general rule. However, there was no clear dividing line between what was inside and outside of Chinatown. In the brackish area, where Japanese and Chinese people were split, there would sometimes be turf conflicts between the Chinese mafia and the Japanese mafia. Underlings from the Caleb family were standing around here and there on the streets that passed through Chinatown.
You got that? Keep your eyes wide open.
Those Primavera people had contacts in Chinatown. This is the only way they can get in. Hey, stop your truck right there. Open up the back.
Stop it! I'm not a suspicious person. Violence is bad.
Just open it up. You aren't hiding anyone inside, are you?
Stop trying to pretend to understand Japanese. Open up the trunk.
Hey! No violence. China and Japan, good friends. Every time a truck passed that looked like it could hide a person, they would violently stop it and force the driver to open it up. Most of the people driving cars into Chinatown were Chinese, but they didn't let that stop them.
Shit. Nothing but pork.
You sure took up our time, old man. You can go now.
Hey, Haneke. Oh. Before they realized that they were surrounded by Chinese people wearing sunglasses. Of course, these weren't good, ordinary citizens. This is the Golden Dragon Society. Are you with Caleb-san?
That's right. We're from the Caleb family.
This place is not Caleb-san's city. It ain't the Golden Dragon Society's turf either. Since when was this your turf, well? Your actions are troubling many Chinese people.
Sorry about that. We're looking for someone. If you get in our way, you won't get off easy.
Some are saying that they were dragged from their vehicles and beaten.
That's because they tried to ignore us and make a run for it.
Both our boss and Caleb-san do not want to fight. We want you to go home for the day. You are bothering everyone.
I can't read that. We don't.
What do you think you're laughing at? Get out of here, Chinese trash!
Hey, you looking for a fight, China? Fine, let's have a go.
The instant one of them made a grab for a Chinese person's collar, all the Chinese people pulled out their guns.
Good job. Now shoot them.
Oh shit. A moment later, the Japanese people pulled their guns out too, and each side was pointing their barrels at the other's noses. The townspeople realized what was going on, and they screamed, ran away, ducked to the ground.
We don't desire a fight with Caleb-san.
Well, we're not too particular on that point.
City 23 belongs to us. Get back there, City 22.
Tell your boss. Don't think you can keep sticking up your necks into City 23.
Oh, you're a cocky little shit, aren't you?
Club Primavera. Since Amanda became Madame Primavera changed drastically. The ladies of the evening were forced to hold back their objections and bear these changes. Oh, God.
Hey, girlie, get over here and give us a drink.
Hey, stop that! You're hurting me!
Ah, you're no fun, girlie. Isn't it your job to pour drinks for your customers?
A customer is someone who pays for what they get. You people don't pay anything, do you? On the contrary, your lawlessness has driven all the real customers away. You're parasites to this club. If you really want to call yourself bodyguards and protect this club, stop by doing something about yourselves.
Of course, her emotions hadn't exploded out of the blue. All she had done was bravely speak for what all the girls thought about the arrogance these men had shown until now.
What's that? You better watch your mouth. This club belongs to the Caleb family. We aren't customers, we're the owners. Let's teach you what happens if you talk like that to the owners. Haneke, customers will see it if you do it here, right? Employee training had better be done somewhere that doesn't disturb the customers.
Oh my god!
True. Let's give her a good long lesson in the VIP room. Get over here, woman. Time for some special training from your owners. Ugh, fuck you.
Let go! Someone help me!
The woman who had been hit and whose nose was bleeding disappeared into the depths of the club, dragged by the men by her hair. The other women were unable to do more than bite their lower lip in fear for what might happen to them tomorrow. Anyone would want to quit working at a place like this. However, there was nowhere else to work. On top of that, the streets were even more dangerous than Primavera these days. Ever since Amanda became the new madam, the atmosphere in the club had undergone a complete change. It wasn't just in Club Primavera. It was all of the clubs associated with Primavera. Caleb family thugs calling themselves bodyguards would mix in with the customers and act with complete and utter ignorance. No customer would willingly come to a club like that. The regular customers who had supported the club vanished one after another. By now, the club was only ever filled with punks and the women who lived their lives in fear. Ain't gonna get paid much there. Oh no, Claudia!
Claudia, it's been so long.
How is it? How are things going in the club?
Just look, it's terrible. We can't go on like this. I'm jealous of you, Claudia. Primavera's finished.
Even my stores had to pay a lot of protection money to the family. It isn't easy.
Oh my god, they're targeting you too. Thanks to them, our customers have stopped coming. Of course they have. Most of our regulars have gotten entangled with the Caleb family and had all their money taken away. Even if they haven't, who would want to come to such a terrible club?
Going to lose profits with this. Does she not realize that by having a hostile work environment, she's not going to get any profits whatsoever?
God, is she that villainously stupid?
Ugh. Stereotypical villain idiocy.
And even if we leave the club after all this time, we can't make a living. I beg you, Claudia, give me a job. I can at least skin potatoes. Please, Claudia.
Claudia would love to have employed them if she could. However, her store was also barely getting by thanks to the protection money demanded by the family.
Won't Amanda-san do anything about it?
She doesn't even show herself around here. Rumor has it she's splitting the sales of this club with Caleb. Anyway, it's just terrible. There's no one left to protect us. And if we do quit working here, they say that hitman named Miguel will come for us. I heard all about that. Do you remember Hannah? That kid who was really good at the piano?
I remember her. How is she doing now?
Right after she quit, she was slashed up with a knife in some back alley. Oh my god! God damn! Right after she quit, she was... Oh yeah. Now everyone's too scared to even quit their jobs. God. Oh, but that doesn't mean it's safe inside the clubs. In one of the other clubs, there was a girl who was hit by one of them and had her jaw broken.
I heard it was some stupid girl who provoked them. Even so, that's just too gruesome.
Hey, Claudia. How is Madame Rose doing? How is Stella and Rose doing?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I only came to get something I lent to Rose.
Hey, Claudia. If you do see Rose, please tell her. Tell her that she's the only madam for us. This isn't just from us. That's what all the girls who are part of Primavera feel.
Claudia's reason for coming had been to see how things were going at Primavera. And when she saw what was actually happening in the club, she knew for certain that what the others were saying was true. The high-class charm of Club Primavera was completely gone. Scruffy-looking people got drunk and laughed crudely. The occupying forces, American soldiers who should have stopped this, were nowhere to be seen. Even the regulars who loved this club had faded away, leaving the club in a terrible state. Ironically, even a club in this day was far safer than being outside. The women had suffered a huge deduction in their wages. They wanted to quit working in a place like this, but if they did, they wouldn't be able to eat. It was as filled with despair as an inescapable blind alley. Some of the people reading this tale must have had a certain thought when Rose refused to serve Caleb that day. The calm and composed Richard was right. The emotional Rose was wrong. Sure enough, at least when it came to being calm and composed, Richard was in the right. At first, Richard's plan to pretend to be obedient whilst working to improve our situation bit by bit may have seemed like the best option. However, I would like the readers to consider this point. The most important founding principle of Primavera. Primavera was formed to offer ladies of the evening a safe working environment. To deny that was to deny Primavera's very reason for existence. That's why it's not Primavera with Amanda in charge. It's not. Richard's choice was the best solution from a man's perspective, from an accounting standpoint, but it completely ignored the women who worked this world of the night. True enough, whether they chose to surrender or refuse, this same day would eventually come to pass. However, there would be one huge difference. That difference was whether the ladies of the evening would lose hope in Primavera or not. If Madame Rose had chosen surrender, all of the women would have lost hope in Primavera, and the alliance would crumble in an instant. And if it crumbled, would they search for customers on the streets? On the dangerous streets where Miguel and his gang wandered, hunting ladies of the evening? The club was in a terrible state, but it was still 100 times safer than the streets. It was far less than before, but in this era of extremely scarce employment, there was still a place for a woman to earn better pay in a better workplace. In other words, Rose's choice was more correct than Richard's. The regrettable thing was Primavera's powerlessness and inability to execute that better choice. Claudia couldn't help but let her mind race. As she thought about the manner in which Rose had been forced to make such a painful choice, Whoa, hello. Death on the battlefield is what a soldier desires. After all, we're trying to kill people. How could we complain if we were killed? Obviously, getting killed by a gun would fulfill our desire. But so would being killed by a shovel in a beach battle. Because we'll both get to die as warriors at equal range. However, that is the one thing I don't want to die by. I don't want to be killed by a trench mortar. Fuck! A mortar is a very rough sort of weapon. You point it towards the enemy without aiming at anything in particular and then fire like mad with a thump-thump. After all, your target is a couple kilometers away. You can attack safely out of range of the enemy camp. And on top of that, it's incredibly easy to fire off. You just pop a shell down a tube, and then poof! You get to hit the enemy camp with a rain of several dozen bombs in a few minutes. Boom, boom. The person shooting, it's almost funny. But to the person getting shot at, it's boom, boom. Even though getting hit with an explosive projectile will turn you into a pile of flesh, the person shooting at you isn't even looking your way. Even when criminals are executed by shooting, their executioners look at them through their gun sights, right? Who could possibly be able to rest in peace if they were killed in this rain of random explosions? We ran into Kinzo here. It hurts. It hurts. I ran out of medical school supplies long ago. There's nothing I can do. There's... Oh, wait. I'll be saved. Oh, please, kill me. Eiji? Damn it. Damn it! I don't hate our enemies. We've both been ordered by our countries to kill each other. That wasn't what was tearing me up. In this thick, distant jungle where they took us telling us that it was for the sake of our country. Just who from our country is going to care for these moaning people who failed to die after having legs and arms blown off? Did they realize what sort of cruel banners were waiting for us when we came home? Calling us baby killers, mass murderers, civilians, more criminals.
Hang in there, man. Don't lose hope because of something like this. Don't you want to make it back to Japan? When we get back, we'll have everything we want. Food, sake, a choice of beautiful girls. I want to drink enough sake to take a shower in. I want to eat manju. To eat steamed potatoes until my stomach bursts. Damn it. I don't want to die, even though I've never been with a woman. Perfect. I'll make all of that come true. Food and drink and women. When we make it back to Japan alive, I'll let you eat and drink enough to shower in. We'll have our revenge against those who sent us here, while they sat around in comfort. I'll take back everything that was stolen from us. So, men, don't you go dying on me. Don't let the loss of one or two limbs stop you.
The wounded soldiers broke down sobbing at Kureiji's words and stretched out their arms. The crowd of wounded soldiers stretched out their blood-stained arms and clung to Kureiji. Kureiji held all of those arms, lifting a tearful roar to the rainy heavens.
Hang in there. You were moaning in your sleep. Did you have a nightmare?
It's not a nightmare. It was a dream of an oath. One that I can't forget until my war is over.
I'll bring you some water.
Caleb let out a huge sigh, then looked at the clock next to the bed. It was still too early for dawn.
Another dream about the battlefront?
I'm grateful for them. They never cease to appear in my dreams, reminding me of my mission. I understand that they're only ghosts. Nothing I do now can ease their pain.
Poor thing.
Poor thing? Me?
Yes, that's right. You poor thing.
Amanda gently held Caleb's head as he sat on the bed.
Even though the war is supposedly over, the war inside you still hasn't ended. How can you be saved?
I'll have to end my war. What I'm doing now is for that war. This time it's a war with money packed into our shells instead of gunpowder. I need money. I need money. I have to save them as soon as possible, no matter how much I have to dirty my hands.
Caleb.
Not changing my opinion, just saying. High-class sightseeing hotel. The Caleb family uses high-class hotels all over the city as their hideouts. These hotels are forced to lend them suites as part of their protection fee. It's said that they don't care about public order, but that's ridiculous. They always do their best to protect city dwellers with the right to vote in presidential elections. Small Rock Chinatown is an advanced base jutting out from City 22. Lee Meiju, who has been entrusted with it, has been given extremely broad authority. Alright, let's get the bad out of the way. The entire suite floor of the hotel was owned by the Caleb family. It was given to them without compensation as part of the massive amount of protection money the hotel paid to the family. Every part of this floor, from the space in front of the elevators to the hallways to the entrance halls of the rooms, was filled with shady-looking men holding guns under their coats. The elevator chimed as it arrived and the door opened. It was Miguel and some men holding a heavy-looking attaché case. They quickly headed to a room. In the room, several bosses were gathered, and the contents of some attaché cases were piled up on the table.
Look at all that money!
There's 3,000 stacks of $100 bills. Now there's a sight to see.
How much money is that?
30 million. Ha! You could have as much fun as you like with that money and never run out.
James' family should bring another 10 million soon.
I brought everything from the Harbour's Union safe. It should be 10 million with some change.
One after another, attaché cases filled with money were placed on the table and their contents were laid out. There were some stacks of new $1,000 bills, and some messy stacks of crumpled $100 bills tied together. As the uneven mountains of mismatched bills grew, it told the story of how they had scraped up all the paper money from across the city by abusing every single person they came across.
How much have we gathered total? Is it more than 100 million?
60 million. No, it might be up to 70 million. We're having it counted now. No matter what, it'll be a sum large enough to make your eyes bulge.
Yahoo! We're the kings of City 23!
That's not even close to enough. What Caleb needs is 100 million. You're still 30 million short, aren't you? Where are you going to squeeze the rest out of?
Hey, Miguel-san. It's impossible getting any more than this.
Impossible?
We had to push the line just to get this much money.
Any more would be impossible. To take any more would really be squeezing the blood out of them.
Well, why not squeeze them?
In the first place, $100 million is just a crazy amount.
I agree. It wasn't a sum we could have gathered in the first place. They were obviously mocking us by asking for the impossible.
Who cares? If we actually do get 100 million, they won't be able to refuse, yes?
Miguel-san, we can't. It's impossible.
Isn't it our job to do the impossible?
We've already done the impossible to get 70 million. We need to take a look at reality. This pile here is our limit.
Do you realize how many stores have gone under? How many people have hung themselves to get us this much?
To be honest, we've probably gone too far, haven't we? We've been so hungry for meat, we've killed off all the cows and chickens. If we'd let them live, we might have been able to take their milk and eggs. And yet, we crushed them all and turned them into meat. Miguel-san, that's what we've done to barely gather 70 million. This city's already been squeezed dry. People have gathered their family assets and left the city if they had enough money to move in the first place.
In the end, we're parasites. If the human we're infesting dies, we can't go on living ourselves.
So what is it you want to do?
We were thinking, this is the perfect time.
The perfect time for what?
City 23 is done for. There's no more business to be done here. Chinatown will swallow it up, and that will be the end. We should move our business elsewhere, too.
Does that mean you're surrendering?
I'd rather
Call it a shift in position. With this much money, we could seek our fortune anywhere. No, on the contrary, we could leave and live in luxury for the rest of our lives.
City 23 is done for. We'll start to see signs of us going too far. It won't be long before we're stuck in a fight with the occupying forces. It's time to abandon this city. A change of plans is a wise move. If you want to call that surrendering, that's fine with me.
Miguel's knife was suddenly sticking out of the man's forehead. Yep, I'm not surprised. After a brief pause, a cross of blood bubbled out. It was a horrifyingly quick job.
If you're going to use the word surrender, then you can hardly complain if you're killed, right? I'll forgive you just this once, but don't do that again, okay?
I understand. I think I just pissed myself.
Okay, 30 million left. Let's give it our all. No options off the table. This is a battlefield. If the Japanese are all dried out, then squeeze some Americans or Chinese. The occupying forces are scared of a fight with us, so you know they won't get involved.
Oh my god, they're gonna target the Chinese now, fuck.
Shit.
Butler, come on!
It's Butler. I'm coming in. I think I'm gonna go ahead and stick with a little bit of a deeper, Tagami voice for Butler this time.
Have a seat, Captain. There have been several recent cases of good American civilians receiving illegal threats from gangster groups.
It's a situation we can't overlook. Have you read this? Certainly. I imagine it's the work of the Caleb family. Caleb, when given the impossible task of gathering 100 million, had acted in the most overbearing manner possible. And now, he had stopped limiting his targets to Japanese people and was finally beginning to go after Americans. Oh, he is going after the Americans. If American civilians were being harmed, even the occupying forces couldn't stay silent. The Caleb family must have understood that. However, to scrape together that unreasonable sum of 100 million, they had finally been forced to act without regards to appearance. This wasn't an unforeseeable result of demanding 100 million Japanese dollars. Such an unreasonable sum.
Oh? Well, I thought a man capable of negotiating with us could surely manage a sum such as that.
I wonder. To me, it certainly seems to be a sum matching the situation we've seen here. We did ask for 100 million Japanese dollars. However, we didn't ask for 100 million bloodstained and crumpled Japanese dollars. We asked for neatly obtained brand new money fitting for us to receive. That's what Caleb doesn't understand. You mean money that can be gathered without troubling any American civilians? Correct. I don't care how much they have to squeeze from the Japanese to get it. However, if they're going to do harm to American civilians, our justice will not ignore their lawlessness. Are you telling me to bring Caleb in? According to your report, that would not be a good option. He is an extremely untouchable man. He really is like a bomb that might go off at any moment. He'll only explode once. However, if we're clumsy about it, both sides will be torn to bits.
The big American-Chinese occupying forces high command conference is drawing near. We don't want a disturbance at this time in a city under American army jurisdiction. On the other hand, if we let that man run wild, he could explode at any time.
Don't you think it's possible we're the ones who lit the fuse?
Watch your tongue, Captain! We are civilized men. We're willing to come to the table if someone wants a deal, be they barbarians or citizens of a defeated country. At least until, as a result of that meeting, we realize that they aren't someone worth bringing into the table a second time.
Well, it looks like that one-time fling of ours is going to cost us.
We'll pretend I didn't hear that. We cannot overlook the possibility that Caleb will bring further harm to American civilians. However, we want to avoid an all-out war with them if at all possible.
I understand. Sorting out troubles like that are my specialty. Director General.
Everyone forgive me, but I'll ask that you leave your seats. I would like to speak with the captain alone.
When the Director General of the C-23's occupying forces coughed, the officers who served as the secretaries rose from their seats. Philip Butler had been given the rank of captain, but it certainly hadn't been in the hopes that he would perform brave feats on the battlefield. Oh boy. Butler's true talent was that the Japanese call niwaza, dealing with things behind the scenes. Just as he had done with the case of Lieutenant Peter McDowell's disappearance, he would stealthily resolve issues that couldn't be made public without anyone suspecting that he was involved. When the high-ranking officers whispered about him, he was sometimes referred to as the Ninja. Butler Ninja! Butler Ninja! I need this! Okay, now we're in Chinatown. Hello? Greetings, Caleb, son. It has been too long. This is Lee Meiju.
Oh, it's you. You're going to apologize, right? I've heard how you've been taking care of some of our young men. Is it a fight you want?
That is my line. You have beaten up several of our young men, haven't you?
You know, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and stick with my deep voice for this guy.
The Caleb family underlings, in their fervor to gain credit for catching Rose and her allies, have been conducting fake inspections near Chinatown. However, they had gone overboard and got into a scuffle with a group of young members of the Golden Dragon Society. Back during the time of the many rival underground warlords, fighting with Chinatown and its powerful foothold had been taboo. However, the issue of turf lines had been smoldering for a long time, and the consolidation of Japanese power had suddenly sparked up that old conflict. The best way to stop a territory war from getting out of hand was to focus the enemy's attention inward. Making sure the enemy is always divided, in conflict, and facing inward is the most important factor. The Japanese were pigs on their own, but if they grouped together, they could sometimes become dragons. They could never allow the Japanese to unite. The words of the young lord, who had unified all of the Golden Dragon Society in his youth, echoed through Meiju's mind. At first, the goal of their plan had been to slightly weaken the Alfred family, which had gone too big. However, Leo Shishigame meeting up with Caleb and joining forces with the Caleb family had been completely outside their calculations. The Alfred family was crushed in the span of a night, and the balance of power in City 23 was destroyed. In the end, it had given birth to the dragon called Caleb.
That's not my problem! Don't you get the wrong idea, Meiju. City 23 is mine!
You mean all of City 23 except Chinatown? That's the important part.
What did you say? Fine. You want to pick a fight with me?
Caleb-san, please calm down. I hear that you are going through a very troubling time. I have heard that you are gathering lots and lots of money, rushing to save your countrymen.
Where did you hear that from? This is why you can't trust the Chinese, racist.
What you are doing is admirable. It is truly admirable to collect money for the sake of your countrymen. However, the amount of money you need is very, very low. It is quite extraordinary.
What are you trying to say? Get back to the point!
Not everyone living in City 23 is Japanese. We Chinese live here as well. We are fellow residents of this city. It is only natural that we help one another. As to that money you are giving to the occupying forces, would it be possible for me to have a piece of that deal?
What?
Just as you want to save your Japanese countrymen, I would like to save my Chinese countrymen. To do that, it is very important that I have a share of that special offers counter for the occupying forces business projects.
Americans and the Chinese don't get along. You're trying to use me as a conduit to dig into their game, aren't you?
Nothing of the sort. I have no such intentions.
Like we'd let you get involved and make things more complicated. I've got no interest in your offer. I'm hanging up. So long.
Wait, Caleb. The tone of Meiju's voice lowered slightly and grew colder.
Oh boy.
Do you still not understand why Japan lost the war?
What?
It is because you tried to fight a war against China and America, both to the east and to the west. As they say, he who runs after two hares will catch neither. Caleb, I do not think that increasing the number of your enemies is your best strategy.
And what about you? Are you okay with having me as your enemy? I believe the Golden Dragon Society higher-ups want to avoid a war with me. C-22 has enemies aplenty too, don't they?
You may have been ordered to play nice with me, but I don't think you've been ordered to pick a fight with me.
Even if you fight a war with me, the Golden Dragon Society will just send me your head as a gift and try to bargain with me.
The Caleb family, with its tremendous momentum, had led Meiju to change his plan. If he couldn't prevent the unification of Japanese force in C-23, he could try to get a piece of the action. He had obtained information saying that Caleb was having trouble squeezing out the ridiculous sum of $100 million. He had wanted to offer his assistance and take a bite out of the Caleb family's pie, but... Are you certain there is no chance of us becoming friends? If we join forces, procuring $100 million will no longer be undoable. And that is not all. If our two families form an alliance, the range of our businesses will be expanded. You will be able to gain more profit. Tell me what you have to gain by passing up on all of that.
This is Japan, a country for the Japanese. We'll leave you alone as long as you stay good and quiet.
However, if you start swaggering about and acting like you own the place, we won't show you any mercy.
Stay quiet and out of the way. Don't try to fool around with secret maneuvers again. Got that? That's all I have to say.
Clank. He hung the phone up without waiting for a reply. Meiju shrugged to set the receiver down, and then put his feet up on the table and looked at the ceiling. A cop must climb a waterfall and be acknowledged by the heavens before becoming a dragon. You poor cop who failed at becoming a dragon. Meiju flipped a nut with his thumb and sent it flying high towards the ceiling. It succumbed to gravity and fell straight into the mouth of the iguana on his shoulder. Who's a good boy? Yes, you are a good boy. Jesus Christ. This is getting stressful. What the fuck was that? Sorry, I think somebody tried to break into my house. It's fine. Where the fuck are Stella and Where the fuck are Stella and Meryl? Meryl.